Welcome to Between the Lines, the Five Towns Jewish Times podcast, where newsmakers unpack the stories shaping the Jewish community.
Okay, hi everyone. Larry and Esta Gordon here. This is our electronic version of the Five Towns Jewish Times called Between the Lines. And our guest today, directly from her home in Beit Shemesh, Israel, is Jamie Geller, International Director, right? Is that what your title at Esta Torah is?
It's actually, I'll tell you, gave me a raise, I think, just now. I'm the Chief Communications Officer and Global Spokesperson.
Okay, so that was pretty close to that. So I want to cover a couple of issues in the 15, 20 minutes that we have to talk. A couple of issues. First of all, I know you also have a position with the Waldorf Astoria Hotel.
Yes.
I've
been a brand ambassador for them since the opening 12 years ago.
Brand ambassador. Public relations, brand ambassador. So two things. Okay, so Esta Torah has students, of course. That's what they're composed of. Their ingredients are made up of students from all over the world. Now, I just heard an interview with a spokesperson for El Al. It makes it sound like everything is just flowing beautifully back and forth between the United States and other countries and Israel. On the other hand, we have
three grandchildren
there,
and
that
it's anything but smooth.
Trying to get on a flight, and constantly. So, how is Esta Torah handling it?
Being canceled?
Do you have a
constantly?
Travel division that you're heading now to?
So first of all, we actually just had a really successful week this week. We raised $6.8 million in our annual matching campaign when the goal was $6 million. And that's because our students beat tremendous resilience and fortitude, even under the threat of sirens and missile attacks, as you know, actually learned the entire Talmud. So they did all of Shas together. We had a Shas match. And so the students that are actually, most of them stayed, because obviously the war just came out of nowhere for us. So it's not like anyone had the chance to flee. So they were here. We were caring for their absolute every single need. You know, they live here in the dormitories, of course, the men and the women. So we have to care for them breakfast, lunch, and dinner, safety, security, and regular programming as usual to keep everyone's spirits up. So we had this tremendous matching campaign and Shasathon, and we raised a ton of money. And only now are students now going back as they had planned, many of them, for the Passover holiday. But like you're saying, Esta, it is very challenging to get out. The flights are not regular by any means.
How's that working? How's that working?
Yeah, look,
so far,
the flights are not regular by any means.
Forward?
People are making their own plans. We don't have an in-house travel. We have a lot that we have going on, but we do not have an in-house travel company here at Aish, but they're making their own plans and they're traveling through. People are going through Cyprus. People are going through Egypt, as you know. So yeah, Egypt the airports have never been so popular since we've been at war here. I mean, starting from October 7th, honestly, that's been like the number one entry and exit point here for people who are desperate to get in, let's say, and hopefully not desperate to get out of Israel. That's certainly not what we want to be hearing, you know?
Nobody's desperate. We have to be very careful. We're not desperate to leave Israel. But who are we kidding? We're talking about 18-year-old, 19-year-old young ladies, young men. They want to go home already. You know what? All they hear are sirens. And the truth is they were supposed to go home. Now, the government knew there's a war coming up. Let's not kid each other. And you know what? The government loves the gazillion dollars they get from all these seminary kids and all these yeshiva kids. I don't know. The embassies were telling people, make your plans and get out a week early. Somebody has to take responsibility here. It's scary.
No, I definitely think what you're saying is very interesting. First of all, I think we need to differentiate between those Israeli citizens that are abroad who are desperate to come back and come back home to their families versus those American citizens who are here, who are young, who are kids or young children, and their family. Parents are nervous. I know that I want to be together with my children, and I certainly don't want them in a war zone without me, so I definitely understand that concern very, very much. But look, there's a pickle. They try to keep some element of surprise, which is so interesting with these wars, as you know, even though the second you start hearing the embassies clearing out, everyone knows, okay, it's happening. So there is,
I think the schools should have been on top of it. Really, the minute they hear something's happening and there's one more week of school, heads up, get out.
There
But I
was one
have to
point
say,
that when Netanyahu, who has come to meet with President Trump 7 times in
Right.
his first year in office, there was one point where I read that Netanyahu asked him not to start anything, not to attack Iran, because Israel had to prepare something before they would be ready to whatever had to be done. It's not my business. I don't get involved in the military planning, but he asked Trump to hold it up for a week. Okay, now, like Esther was saying, they could have done the same thing to the schools. Let your kids that have to leave or want to leave go home a week earlier. Because there's going to be a war beginning. Instead of, it seems like a balagan, like I've never seen in my life. What I hear just of our own grandchildren and my friends' children and grandchildren, they don't know. They could be booked. They could be ready. They have to be ready to go within an hour, and they don't know. Just today, I heard from other people speaking about, besides a flight from Cairo to New York, which seems all of a sudden seems like the best thing in the world to be able to get from Cairo to New York
Yeah.
or
Well,
Amman
it
to
is
New
a
York.
bit ironic.
kind
It
of
is a bit,
appropriate.
yes, it is a bit ironic, don't you think?
From Cairo to New York. Then I heard about one from
Athens, Cyprus.
Ben Gurion
Cyprus.
to Prague, first to Prague, then
Prague is great.
Uh,
That's a walk in the
Prague,
park.
then Prague to New York. Not Cyprus. I haven't heard Cyprus, but I
My
heard
nephew's coming in tomorrow night for his triplet brother's wedding, and he's flying in through
Hopefully.
Cyprus at 2 a.m.
Right.
a few hours
so
prior to the
he's
wedding.
flying in with what airline from
I don't
from
know
New
from
York?
which airline, but from New York, correct?
From New
From New
York,
York
and
to
how's he going to get
Cyprus.
from
Yeah,
Cyprus? How's he get from Cyprus to Israel?
Cyprus to Israel. I don't know which airlines, so yeah, but he's coming
There's
from
like
Cyprus
there's like a
directly to
shuttle
Ben
service.
Gurion.
And one of our kids, I think, I don't even know the name of the airline. Wizz Air. You ever heard of an airline like
Yes,
that?
I have heard of it. Yes.
Wizz Air flying from Ben Gurion to I think to Athens, and then
Yeah.
from Athens to New York, Emirates Airlines. So it seems that everybody has the fortitude and the ability to schedule flights with some regularity, except El Al. And then the others, I
Well,
know.
why don't you tell her your idea?
Well, I don't know, about first of all,
Putting
first of
painting.
all, El Al. I don't know why couldn't the El Al flights? Why can't their planes fly from Cairo? They're at peace with them for the last 40 years. In both Jordan and Egypt, they could take the El Al planes, and if it's safer to fly into Cairo and Amman, then do that. So I heard someone in the Israeli government doesn't want the Israeli flag on a plane in Cairo or Amman. It's the Jordanians and the Egyptians that don't want it. So get a white can of spray paint and spray over the Mug and David on the tail. I think we live there. We live in the 5 towns.
Well, Jamie, what it's like. We see all the planes.
We live. I see planes flying.
Yes.
I see planes flying into Kennedy sometimes, and it's all white. There's nothing painted on them. I don't know whose planes they are. Maybe they're El Al, painted white. Maybe someone stole my idea already. I don't know. But anyway,
you see and hear the planes there in the 5 towns, and I hear the sound barrier breaking. I heard the sound barrier breaking from all the fighter jets flying overhead. So we both have planes.
Wow, that happened to us.
9/11. 9/11. We had that.
We had that 9/11.
Yeah.
Houses were shaken.
Yeah. So let's switch hats for a second. How is the tourist industry, Waldorf specifically? What are they doing? First of all, are people keeping their reservations? Are they expecting to get into Israel for Pesach? What is a hotel
What's the word
doing?
around the Waldorf now?
Isn't it absolutely amazing that everyone is holding their reservations right now? The Waldorf was almost sold out for Pesach, and that's the international travelers. Of course, the last few rooms usually go within the month before to the locals who last minute are like, yeah, let's go away for Pesach. And everyone is holding on to their reservations. The people, and that's not the same, by the way, for hotels in Tel Aviv, for example. Any international travelers that were planning to come for Pesach to Tel Aviv are already canceling. And there are other hotels, even in Yerushalayim, in Jerusalem, that have closed their doors now because they already see the drop in occupancy and they don't want you to go through the expense of koshering the hotel for Pesach. They anticipate already, so they've closed their doors. But the Waldorf
they feel
stores,
that it's not going to happen.
Yes, but the Waldorf stores are always open. The guests are so loyal, and you know the Waldorf because you guys love to stay there as well. Like
Love it.
we get to
It's
see each
a
other
home
all the
away from
time.
home.
Yes.
Exactly. And so they are staying open for their guests. And so not only is the Waldorf staying open, they've already started to kosher the hotel. Everything there is no kitnios, no gebrachs, the highest standards as expected. And they're really, really hopeful. And they know, look, it's all about, back to the first conversation, it's the airlines, but the will of the guests to come, and you're talking about getting out of Israel, the people that want to are desperate to get into Israel and to be here for Yom Tov and to be here for Pesach, they're holding on to those reservations.
Wow.
Well, the fact of the matter is that this could all end in one day, in one or 2 days.
Then the flights have to leave, and we know that El Al's going to have to work overtime because most of the other countries, like Delta and United and all these other flights, are not going back so
I don't know.
fast.
I don't know if they're flying in, or if they're allowed to fly into. Planes are leaving. I heard the spokesperson from El Al say that there are 2 flights an hour leaving Ben Gurion and arriving in Ben Gurion.
It's not our first rodeo. Between COVID,
exactly
between October
what I
7th,
said.
between the 12-day war with Iran, so we really know how to pick up the pace. Once you get the green light, once you get that sense of safety that we can actually fly with more regularity, you'll see everything sort of pick up. And I think I actually understand it to be 7 to 10 days till they get caught up, and then everything goes back to normal. So that's the backup. It's about a 7 to 10 day backup is what I understand from my sources.
Okay, so hopefully...
So they're home clear for Pesach.
Please God.
So hopefully
coincidentally.
Hopefully that'll happen. Hopefully that'll happen soon. This is it's an unprecedented but inevitable conflict that was going to occur.
Yes.
Because
the last time it was Sukkos.
The debate here is who led who into war? Did Netanyahu urge Trump to go ahead, or did Trump lead Netanyahu?
Well, if Trump is to be believed. If Trump is to be believed, then he actually is the one who pushed Israel's hand into war.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. Listen,
so,
as you can see, last week ago or a week and a half ago, they say that on a Sunday morning, Iran had 2 enemies, Israel and United States. They woke up the next morning, they had 12 enemy states because they're firing.
They're
firing their missiles.
Dubai.
they're firing there with wild abandon. It's like a petulant child who's just like swatting at anyone they can.
They were in the hotel. Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy.
Who would expect that?
Right. That was actually unexpected. That I think for sure was one of the biggest surprise here, to see them go after all these Gulf countries. So between Bahrain and Dubai and Qatar and it's crazy. But here's where we're at, and
I think it's great for Israel, though.
What is?
The fact that they were bombing all over the place.
Oh,
so the war is not just Israel, America against Iran.
Listen, this might be a new, different kind of taking the back door into the Abraham Accords. Instead of going through the front entrance.
The front door. Yeah.
So hopefully you'll have a great Pesach there in Esta Torah, of course, and as well as in Jerusalem at the hotels, and like you said, things could get turned around very, very quickly. Anyway, it's great to
Hashem Karafayan, in the blink
like a blink of the eye
for everything.
Blink of the eye.
Yes.
So it's great.
So
it's great to see you again and to talk
to
you again. Great to see you again and talk to you again, and we'll be in touch. Have a Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach.